It's raining outside, it's a cold stormy night, and I'm so all alone. World of pain. I hope I might find this reason for my Coming on down, the sun's going down on the highway. There's nobody, and it's rain in my eyes like the rain in the sky. It keeps falling, falling down. This world of mine. I hope I might find reason for my Why did you go? Where are you now? But I need to travel. Maybe I'll find an old man tonight on my reason. All I know if I could just ride the bus on my
Well, good afternoon. Excuse me. That was Uncle Joe Shaw with one of his incarnations of Windy Day, I believe, done in Chico, California. He can let me know. And yes, Joe, I agree. I haven't figured out a way to put the song directly into the video feed. It has to go through some cheap speakers and even a cheaper microphone. And yeah, that's the way it is. And I can't drown out my background voices. Maybe one of these days I'll figure that out and we'll do it again. A very talented Uncle Joe on that one. 15 minutes ago, I was at a taco truck doing an order for a quesadilla, and the miracle of mass transportation and turning on your computer real quick. I'm here. I made it. It is what it is, Joe, but I'm going to work on it. I know there's got to be a way to be able to just feed the sound directly into the video feed, eliminate the middleman. So let's see. I'm just getting started. Let me do a little housekeeping. Let me get the invite link on. Let me find out where this video is playing. It's on Isabel's channel. I'm going to paste it on there. There we go. So let's get the show started. Oh, excuse me. I'm eating a little too fast. I'm trying to. And it's delicious, by the way. It is a good quesadilla. So, got a few people watching. Let's I don't have any plans as usual. I didn't have enough time to even change my backdrop. So that's usually I like to. It's a fun little part of the show to have a different background every time. The miracle of the green screen. And there's Jennifer. It looks like she's getting close. I still don't see her video, but we'll give it a second. And we'll see if she got the problems worked out from yesterday. If not, Jennifer, I would suggest, I'm not seeing your video. I see your little square, but no video in it. Maybe your phone. I don't know. My goodness. That is tasty. Yes, Donnie, do you recognize that? You recognize it is Bidwell Park. It is well known. Hey, Dave, how you doing, sir? Yep, that is salmon holes. See, Dave, who lived down in Fontana all his life, when we moved up to Chico, I don't know if you ever had a chance to visit Chico, but we have things like that where we can go swimming. Big, deep hole. I think that hole's probably 15, 16 feet deep. Tunnels. You can swim under tunnels. That is salmon hole, Donnie. We're all friends, right? I can just eat. No, we won't tell anybody, will we? Well, I lost a bunch of viewers over that, but I'm hungry. Tengo hambre. Donnie probably knows what that means. Anyways, let me drop that link again. Maybe Jennifer can come on with her phone. But I still didn't see her video camera. I did not, or anyone else. It's a beautiful, kind of a windy day up here. And that was the band, Joe Shaw's version, one of the versions of Windy Day, I believe. One of the incarnations. It is tasty. Thank you. I am enjoying this. Without even permission, I'm just doing it. We're kind of low budget. It's a low budget operation here. Like I said, we don't have a very big writing staff, props or anything. We make it happen as best we can. Yeah, maybe if someone has some advice, maybe Chris Plymesser would know how I could bypass my speaker and microphones to get that sound. I don't know if I need a little mixer. If that would do it, that might do it. And mix the signals together without having to make them loud and then pick them up again. Just another thing to work on. Ladies and gentlemen, just another thing to work on. So how's it going today? Does anybody have any questions? Because I'm already starting to hear myself a little bit too much. So I'll go ahead. I don't have any otter pops, so. So what's the topic for today, ladies and germs? What is the topic for today? Joe, you want to come on and talk a little bit about that incarnation? Or was that? I guess you did that in the studio. I'm kind of curious where the studio was. I imagine you practiced for that song in the Sacramento house on Sacramento Avenue. I would guess it's that time period. There's Joe. Good, Joe. I see your video nice and clear. Looking good. You ready to come on? Give me the nod, and I'll put you right on the center stage. You just left me. Did you hit the wrong button, I'm hoping? You want to try that again? I see Donnie and Jennifer and Dave from Fontana. David. Who else is out there? Not that many, actually. I think I see 4 people watching. It's not a ratings blockbuster, but that's okay. I'm here. If you saw my little video, I'd put up my baby ducks. They're all settled in, and that was quite traumatic to get that taken care of. I'll tell you what. But we did it, and I think Uncle Joe's ready to come on. We'll give this a try again. One more time, sir.
Yeah, I think I turned myself off right when I was thought I was turning Facebook off, and I turned the picture off. Anyway, I was just thinking of a question because I was reading up a little bit about energy that you like to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And it was talking about the different, the article I was reading was talking about the different kinds of energies. But what I couldn't find is what actually happens to energy. Like I was thinking about heat energy.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to it?
That's a great.
Like, when a quasar happens, that releases more energy than anything in the galaxy. And where does that energy go?
That's a great question, and I'll try to answer it the best I can. I do you have both things on by any chance?
I do not. Are you
Okay.
getting feedback or something, Luke?
No, I think we're a lot better.
Okay.
So if we go by current, how's my volume? I didn't check that today. Am I pretty loud? Let me check
Sounds
this.
just right to me.
Okay, let me turn down a little bit. Yeah, energy changes form. Typically, according to physics at this point in time, it could change, but you can either create or destroy energy. Definition of energy is the ability to move something. And let's take, for example, and what usually happens is through every process of energy converting from one kind to the other, there's inefficiencies, which is one of the laws of thermodynamics, which creates heat. Now, heat is is a very low grade energy. It's very difficult to move things with just heat, especially as it becomes less and less warm, let's say. So let's say you have a gallon of gasoline. Gasoline is actually a super concentrated form of energy. And as it goes through the combustion process, it turns into heat, which, and expands gases and pushes down the cylinders, which turns the crankshaft, it turns, to the wheels, and you get movement. And what comes out of the exhaust and what radiates off the engine is heat. And that heat is not not nearly as usable as the gasoline. So it just goes to heat the universe. It kind of it heats the environment, which slowly rises up and leaves our atmosphere and goes into space. But it's the best I can say is the more you convert energies from one form to another, you're always creating a little bit of heat, and that heat becomes less and less workable. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, it does make sense. So the energy of the sun that's not absorbed by the planets is just dispersed out into space.
And up until 70, 80 years ago, the only energy we ever used was solar energy. You know that? All of our energy comes from the sun. Yeah, but what does fire burn? It burns hydrocarbons. It burns wood, or it burns coal, or it burns. But all of those things, like petroleum, is mostly old living plants or animals, which ultimately come from plants. Plants is actually sunlight to plants is the first step of it. It's the first major portion of how we use the sun. And from from plants to animals, that, you know, what would we burn? We burn wood. We burn coal. That all comes from plants or animals, which ultimately is driven by the sun. The only energy that's not driven by the sun, well, there's actually a couple. There's a couple. One is nuclear energy, which is from old stars. Has nothing, you know, it's heavy elements that created from old supernovas. And then we also can we can tap into tidal energy, right? And that has to do with the gravitational pull between the Earth and the Moon. So we never really tapped into that until, if at all, until recently. But almost all the energy we use starts at the sun. Kind of interesting, but we're a solar powered system for sure. That's my take. But that was a really good question. In fact, you know, one of the you know, you hear it and I don't know if we want to get in the argument, but like, well, that, you know, energy, you know, just like when we die, what happens to our energy? Well, it usually just turns to heat, and that kind of just heats the environment a little bit. Doesn't mean too much more than that. The type of energy I'm talking about, but no, don't get me started. I you know, that Michael Moore movie got my things going too.
It's a fascinating subject, actually.
Well, it is, because that's the currency of life, is energy, and that's what nature gave us. That's why I talk about. I'm big on this. The money should be based on energy, because that's what we use. That's what drives everything. Because again, I know it sounds crazy, but we only move things. And in order to move things, you need energy. It's real fundamental, and I wish, and I can go off on it, but anyway.
In a way, you could say money represents our ability to disperse a certain amount of energy.
The only thing, the only thing you can really buy with money is a form of energy, some form or another. Typically, it's really just because that's what we use.
Something that represents energy.
Yeah. Yes. And we figured out ways to no, but if you look back just a couple hundred years, you know, for a farmer, he wanted to plow a field, he used oxen or a horse, which is driven by what? Well, they eat plants. Where do the plants come from? They're grown by the sun. So it was purely a solar-based economy, because all our energy comes from the sun. Anyways.
Okay, well, while I'm up here, I have another question. So I noticed that David Dietz is off of Facebook.
Yes.
I was just curious if anybody knew why. I was one of the last people to I'm not going to say have issue with him, but to challenge him. And I'm just wondering if I'm the reason he quit, if he got tired of being challenged, or if it was something. Does anybody know?
Well, I talk to David usually on a regular basis, and I wouldn't want to explain for him, but sometimes, I don't know if you've ever taken a break from Facebook. I have. Sometimes it gets real frustrating. I think he had a level of that. I think you know, again, I don't want to talk for him, but I think well, shit, I'm going to just stick my foot right in my mouth. Here we go. Here we go.
It's not like anybody else is going to hear you. It's just me here.
That's right. Just between me and you, Joe. The Dietz family really sticks together. I don't think that's a secret, and that's a good thing, right? They got each other's back.
When it comes right down to it.
When it comes down to brass tacks,
yes,
and that's
they will disagree, they will fight, but when it comes right down to it, they got each other's back.
They do.
100% with that.
And that's not a bad thing at all. No, don't get me wrong.
That's how it should be.
And I think he feels that didn't happen. And I but again, I'm paraphrasing. But yeah. Anyways.
Close enough.
No, but I miss him because I like.
Well, he's a good voice. I think he'll be back.
No, I hope
just a week away from Facebook can do a lot of good. Maybe that's all he needs.
He told me, I'm not sure how much to believe him because it's hard to get off Facebook. You know, they save all your information. So when you get back on, you got all your friends and everything. But he said he figured out how he erased everything. And I'm not sure if you even can do that. Well, as of today, he wasn't missing it. But I need him back on here.
Yeah. Well, can he do this show without being on Facebook?
Yeah, he can actually do it on through I told him that over and over. He can do it on YouTube. It's on YouTube too.
And maybe he's watching.
I hope so.
Oh.
His wife Christy is still on, and I hope I didn't stick my foot in my mouth too much.
I hope I didn't upset him.
I don't think you did.
Last thing I was talking about was I was just trying to explain something that I said that I think he misunderstood. But yeah, we all get into that. You know, that's just part of working it out.
Part of working out when you put you know, politics are raw, and when you put those ideas out there, they're very personal. And yeah, it's I've done it. I've gotten pissed off and said, I'm out of here, I'm done. And then you come back later and it seems to be okay.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back. He will. He's a good guy.
All right. Well, that's all I had. I don't want to soak up the whole show again, which tends to happen when I come on. So
well, that's, you know,
I'm going to let somebody else take over here, and or if you want to hang out till somebody else comes on.
Let me drop the link. I kind of like these little hour shows. Kind of makes it everybody's day a little bit easier. And
A little less rambling, more concise.
More concise, and not, you know, we could beat a lot of dead horses.
Yeah.
And I'm eating. I don't know how bad that looks, but it's tasty. Our restaurants are starting to open up here for takeout.
Yeah, they've been open here for takeout all through the well, a lot of them have.
No, some have, but now we're getting a lot more jumping on. I think last Friday they started reopening a little bit.
Well, I'm going to be very curious to see how this all unfolds, and if you know, and keep our fingers crossed we don't get a second wave, because I think people are getting so restless they're willing to kind of gamble, and that's not. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
No, and a lot of different information gets posted. I think Donnie posted one today that was pretty good. That
it's terrible, right? When you first get on, you're like, "Holy shit!"
It's terrible, and then if you look into it, it gets a little more murky. But it's kind of like the Michael Moore movie. It makes you guys scratch your head a little bit and say, "What's going on here?"
Maybe our phones are in.
Well, I've been reading a lot of conspiracy theories, and I'm not buying into anything, but I got to say that it is sad that that we can't trust our government, because the fact is any of these theories could be true. You know, we don't know for sure, and maybe they are just letting this whole virus spread out until they can come out with a vaccine that they already have developed, but make the capitalize on it and make the most amount of money by having the most amount of people infected. You know, that's a popular one, and I don't believe it, but yet I would not be surprised. And it's just sad that we got that kind of government now, to where you got to think anything's possible.
No, I think, Donnie, you're coughing. Let me turn you off for a second and do that. No, actually, one thing I found interesting about the video that Donnie showed, and I wish we had better journalism in this country, because some of these topics really should be explored. But the lady was mentioning, and I don't know. I would like that there is no RNA virus that has ever had a vaccine. Like HIV does not have a vaccine, and it's a virus. So I wish I knew, but there are some viruses you can't have a vaccine for. They just never been invented yet. And I don't even know if this COVID thing is an RNA virus. I guess instead of a DNA virus, I would say. So well, we scared everybody off. So yeah, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't place my bets right now. That's how I was talking to Dennis about that. It's like with so much different information out there, I just don't know where I'd bet anything right now. And yeah, I agree with you, and that's kind of frustrating. I wish our journalism was better than putting out crappy stories about innuendo and sex and all that stuff, and talk about like what can we even handle the information? Like, is it over our heads to talk about different viruses and what vaccines are and how they're made? And I would love to hear more about that. Let me drop that link again, because I had a bunch of people come up at once, and then
tell them to come back, and I'll go away and let them have their moment. Hey, Kurt.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good.
So every once in a while, I read something or I hear something that just kind of, I'm like, that's probably true. I don't know what to believe. There is a lot of misinformation, but I tend to lean on. Not being real safe. I don't know. I heard a saying today. I heard, this isn't a saying, I heard a doctor say today that your immune system, the building blocks of your immune system is bacteria and virus. Without that, you don't have an immune system. Without constantly, and I'm just repeating what the doctor said, constantly being exposed to germs and viruses and things like that build your immune system. That's what builds it. How do you feel about that, Joe? Have you heard that?
I believe that.
Yeah.
We grew up playing in the dirt, and I think kids that played in the dirt are much healthier for it. And I think over washing your hands, I think there's certain pathogens and things in our skin that is actually our first line of defense. And I think when we use that too much disinfectant on our skin,
right,
we're losing something.
Right. To the point where he even said that staying, how did he put it? That staying home and being very clean and wiping down the counters is actually lowering your immune system. And we saw maybe a little bit of evidence of that, and I believe it was in New York, where they did a breakdown of people that had the virus. 2% of this person, the highest percentage was 66% of people that stayed home got the virus. And I thought that was kind of interesting, that the stay-at-home order, and I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, could be wrong. Everybody right now thinks it's right. Everybody thinks it's right. Could be wrong. Right? Well,
we don't know what to believe. And
yeah, I agree with that.
The old days of Walter Cronkite are gone, where you got somebody who's very neutral and he's just giving you the facts. Is
down the middle of the road. Right.
And now we have news channels that are all biased, and if you only listen to one, there's a whole lot of stuff going on you're not being privy to, and I think that's true from both sides. And so we're kind of being spoon-fed, and
it's kind of funny how they're kind of splitting this up now. I hear the Democrats want to stay home, but the Republicans want to go to work, and I'm like, what is this? I don't get that correlation right there. Have you heard that? Have you heard people say that more Democrats want to stay home? And I found
the Democrats tend to listen more to the doctors, I think, and the Republicans they're a little more conspiracy minded, So when the doctors and the scientists say this is how it is, the Democrats are going to tend to believe it, and the Republicans are going to tend to go, well, I don't know about that. Then if you get a guy like Trump who's saying yeah, let's open back up. Well, then you guys are quick to jump on board. And maybe that's the best way to go. That's the whole damn thing I'm frustrated with is we don't really know. We don't even know the how many people are really dying from this. I read one thing where a lot of deaths are COVID-19, but they list them as something else, just respiratory failure.
Yes.
And then I've read the opposite where a lot of deaths that are not COVID-19 they're listing them as COVID-19. So is it more or less than the numbers? I don't know.
Yeah.
Are we safer to stay home or go out and mix it up? I don't know. So in the end, all I know is I need to do the best I can do to keep my immune system strong, whatever that is, exercise, diet, supplements. And no, I don't tend to over clean. I do wear my mask in the store, and
Well, I think one of the giant unknowns that a lot of people aren't talking about is what it's doing to our economy. And I have no idea. I'm not here to say it's going to destroy our economy or borrowing too much money. I don't know. I mean, every president borrows money, right? Bush did it, Obama did it. Everybody borrowed money to,
well, ever since about almost ever since Clinton, we take in about $3 trillion a year in taxes, and we spend about $4 trillion a year. So every year our national debt goes up about $1 trillion. So it seems like this year, 2020, it's going to go up about $4 trillion.
Well, actually, I think it's a little different than that. I think George Bush doubled it, Jr. Obama then doubled it again, and it's on track to get doubled again. So it's more exponential than linear.
It is, but I'm talking on the average. At least in the last 10 years, I noticed that it goes up we have to borrow about $1 trillion a year to get through. Now, so what I'm curious about is how does that work that we're not paying taxes this year, but we're doling out about $3 trillion. Are they just printing that money? And if they're just printing it, what will that do to inflation?
That's the $1 million question right there. I think you'd have to be a super kind of economist to and even then you could be wrong. Even if you're the smartest economist in the United States you could still get it wrong. Nobody can tell. I can just guess that it's not a good thing. Go ahead.
I'm guessing it's not a good thing, but to your point about drawing along party lines, maybe I'm wrong, but all the protests, I've never seen a Biden sign in any of those protests.
Right. Yeah.
I see a lot of Trump signs.
I don't deny that the protesters are mostly Trump supporters that want to open up. That's what they're protesting about. They want to get the economy rolling again. And although I wouldn't protest, I'm not the protesting type, I wouldn't be down in that crowd. That's for damn sure. That's one thing I am going to avoid, and I have no problem with that because I don't like crowds. I heard somebody say the loneliest times I feel is when I'm in a crowd, and I kind of feel like that. But I'm not disagreeing with that.
I don't understand the money thing. It's like, okay, you're handing out $3 trillion. So for 20 years, we've been trying to get an infrastructure bill going to where $1 trillion would have pretty much put our whole country in good shape, rebuild bridges, highways, and we haven't been able to do it. $1 trillion, how much junior college would that pay for how many years? Or how far would it go to propping up Medicare or Obamacare? But we can't do it. But we get this pandemic comes along, and we got $3 trillion to hand out.
Yeah.
It's just
I kind of
something suspicious that
I kind of take issue when you say we're not doing infrastructure, and I'm not well versed on it or anything, but okay. So Linda and I did a road trip. We went up. We drove the coast of Oregon last summer, right? they're just about rebuilding every bridge along. Is that Highway 1 that goes up to Oregon? It is. I believe it is. But there was construction going on all over the place, and isn't it more of a state's responsibility for its own infrastructure? I guess there are federal highways and stuff like that, but maybe I'm in my little bubble down here in San Diego, but there's nothing falling apart down in San Diego. I mean, if it is, they're rebuilding a bridge over a part of San Diego Bay. They are doing that. I don't see.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Up here north of Sacramento, we don't see any of that. When I moved to Chico in '72, they said we were 5 years away from having a freeway to Sacramento. Well, that was almost 50 years ago. We still don't even have a 4-lane highway to Sacramento, and people die left and right coming and going out of Chico because we're 100,000 people with only a 2-lane highway to get in and out from all 4 directions. So, my point of view, when I talk infrastructure and I say there's nothing going on, I mean up here north of Sacramento, there's nothing. There's no money being spent. They're not even fixing potholes.
I will agree with you that a better job could be done of it, but I wouldn't say nobody's doing any infrastructure. And I have a spot like that you're talking about. And I drive to Carson City or Nevada, a couple times a year. And that US 395, when you get off the 15 at the top of the Cajon Pass there, and you get through Adelanto, it's a 2-lane highway, and you can't pass for like 20 miles. Thank you. The mighty US 395, a 2-lane highway. I'm like, what the heck?
Highway 5 and 99, but both those corridors going down the whole Central Valley from Sacramento to Bakersfield, they're two lanes in each direction.
5 is 2 lanes, really? I thought 5 was bigger.
Big trucks passing each other.
Right.
Well, when they built 5 back in the late 60s, it was great. It served the purpose. It got traffic off Old 99 and 101. But that was over 50 years ago. That 5 needs to be 3 lanes in both directions.
Yeah.
And my old age, I don't even want to drive it anymore because it's still too scary for me.
One thing
you're becoming your dad.
Yeah.
One thing I can tell you, Kurt, what makes a difference out here is mild climate. I lived in New York in the Rust Belt where when it freezes and rains and freezes and snow and they ice and they salt the road differently, it's very caustic to bridges. It's very caustic to cars. It's very caustic to the roads. Thawing and freezing creates Grand Canyons and things like that. So it's a lot tougher on roads back east than it is out here for sure. So bridges and all that tend to have a lot quicker wear back there for sure.
So I'm asking this in all sincerity: who pays for it? The states or the federal government? Does the federal government help the states, or
Well, remember when in fact they used sticks and carrots. Remember when they went 55? If you would stop losing federal funding if you didn't have a 55 mile an hour.
Yeah, I certainly remember that. Yep.
So the federal government does supply a lot of the money for roads because it's important that we have a good infrastructure for the federal government. If we have good roads and not just in some states. They want to be able to go from one end of the country to the other for commerce and for all kinds of reasons. So it benefits they get potentially more tax dollars that way if we have a good infrastructure.
I got to check my dog. What's going on? I'll be right back. What's the matter, girl?
Hey, I see Lynn Brown's up there. Lynn, we heard you a little bit. Was Lynn on that record, Joe?
Is Lynn Brown watching?
He's watching.
Oh, hey, Lynn. He's got a smartphone. Tell him, come on.
Come on up.
Monkeys.
I'll make a room for you, Lynn. Come on up.
Got plenty of room. I'll drop the link again. So who was that, Joe? reiteration of Windy Day when the song I played, and I apologize for the audio quality. I'm
Well,
doing
you
it.
know that was back in the late '70s. Lynn Brown and Dale and I had this little acoustic trio going out to bars and stuff, doing these little 3-part harmony folk music kind of gigs, and then along the line we started adding people. So we added a cello, a drummer, a bass player, and a keyboard player. So at our peak, we had this 7-piece group, and it sounded like ELO, Moody Blues. I mean, we had that big 3-part harmony and that full poop news. That's Lynn. So once we had that big fat sound, we went up and recorded
Yeah.
a couple of songs. Hey, Lynn,
Hi.
Eat poop, Mr. Smith.
I got one Lynn recorded.
poop.
Maybe tomorrow you can play that one. I'll try to post
Oh,
it.
that online love.
Udemy.
Oh, Udemy.
Yeah, Udemy.
Oh, yeah. That was part of that whole session. Yeah.
Yes, it was. So yeah, so we went up to Peter Burkow. Probably nobody out of
Yeah.
Chico knows Peter
Off of
Burkow.
Pence.
Everybody
Pence
in
Road.
Chico knows Peter Burkow, but he had a little studio up in Paradise, about a block from Scott's house, actually, and he had this little reel-to-reel 8-track recorder. So it was pretty cool what he did with it. He was able to keep ping-ponging us back and forth, and I think we did 5 vocals on that, and Nora
Hey,
did
Tim
4
Ellison was
cellos.
on that too.
Huh?
Tim Ellison was on that too.
You say that, but I don't think so.
Yeah, he sang that really high part because
That was you. That was you.
No. See how old we are? We don't really remember anymore.
Hey, Lynn, we had a question about Tim Ellison. Is he still around, or what's going on with him? Do you know?
Far as I know, man, it's been years since I've seen him. Years.
Well, they say he's dead. That's what Randy Leopard said, and Kurt I
Really?
think, said that.
Well, all I know was the last time I saw him, I went down to Purdue and I went to his house, and it was just him. And he was working as part of a pipe fitter, I think, like Donnie Farrell, my friend from Caretakers down in Purdue.
In his 911 Porsche.
Yeah, that's right. But we went and ate somewhere, and he was like 300 pounds.
He never took good care of himself. I
That's
never
probably
figured
what he died of, I would imagine. And probably had a heart attack.
diabetes or something, but
Yeah, hey, I'm no longer diabetic, which is really cool.
how do you do that?
Yeah, I lost 45 pounds in the last year.
Really?
So,
Congratulations.
yeah, so it. I just had a blood test from my cardiologist, and he was astounded. He said, "Wow, your numbers are great. Your cholesterol level's perfect." And he said, "I said, what's my A1C? Because I've been type 2 for years." And he said 5.5, and the demarcation line is 5.7. So that's what they want you below that. So
Well, that's good.
Type A diabetes or type B?
it's type 2.
Type
Type 1 is what my son Sean has.
That's where you have to inject, like Barney has that.
Yeah, he does that. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah. He does it a lot. He's really good with his. He's vegan now, so his numbers are great too. So
Did you go vegetarian?
What's that?
Did you go vegetarian?
I just don't eat as much meat as I used to. I can't not eat meat. I'm a carnivore. Holy shit. But yeah, we don't eat as much as we used to, but walking every day seems to be a big part of it. Plus I use this app that's out there. It's called Noom. And I paid for it for like 4 months, and it got me used to a mindset that I hadn't had before, which is kind of weird, but it worked.
Good for you.
I'm proud of it.
That's a good news story.
Yeah.
Hey, just as a little off science topic here for a second. Do you know how you can tell if an animal is a predator? It sounds like a joke, but it's not a joke.
When he bites you?
No.
Wow.
Do you know, Uncle Joe, how you can tell if an animal's a predator?
No.
Their eyes face forward.
No,
No, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. If
well,
you
that
look
makes sense, though. Yeah.
if you look at cows, they face the side or up. Wolves, all kind. An eagle looks forward. A duck looks sideways. So
That's true. I was thinking about an eagle. That's true.
predators always their eyes. You can know right away if it's a predator if it's looking straight ahead.
Interesting.
Just as
Something like that with snakes. If their eyes, I think, are on the side, they're poisonous, and if their face is round and they're straight ahead, they're not poisonous.
Yeah.
so we're a predator.
That's better.
I thought you were telling a joke, and I just jumped on here to tell a joke.
This
Yeah.
is a joke. What are you talking about?
You want to hear a joke about the coronavirus?
It's a joke within a joke.
Do you guys want to hear? You want to hear a joke about the coronavirus?
I do. I want to hear a joke within a
You probably won't get it.
joke.
Are you dumbing us down before your joke?
That's it. That's it, guys.
I
Well,
refuse
he just
to
left.
accept that.
It's just a
I'll
joke.
say that again. You want to hear about a joke about the coronavirus? You're not going to get it.
Oh God.
You probably won't
That
get it.
sounds like a Joe Shaw joke.
It's all about the delivery, Kurt. It's all about the delivery.
That's true.
Yeah, I have good material. I just can't deliver it.
You know-
I don't know. You said something on Facebook today that what the hell was that? I laughed my ass off. It was so stupid. It was funny.
You know what we ought to do, because actually my biggest heroes in my world are comedians, stand-up comedians, and it's something I couldn't, but this would be a platform where we could do a 5-minute routine. Joe, are you up to do a 5-minute comedy routine and practice for us?
I don't know. Brady and I have had this talk that of all the avenues of entertainment, stand-up comedy's got to be the toughest to master, to break into, to be good at. You got to have a lot of balls.
Well,
Yeah.
but also it's and I agree a lot, but it's also just the opposite. It's one of the easiest where you can actually just do it. You don't need an agent. You don't need to get a part. Nobody has to select you. You can just do it. And that's kind of cool about it. But I think everybody wants to be a comedian. In fact, when I was a teacher, my best moments were I got the whole classroom to laugh. I'd rather get them to laugh than teach them something any day, because it just feels really good when you get a room to laugh. And Mark does that. I don't know if you notice on some of Mark's videos, he's got a wry sense of humor, and I know he gets probably. I was going to ask him, do you get more enjoyment out of that laugh or the singing the song? And I'd be really curious what he has to say, because it's a powerful thing when you can get a room to laugh. It really is.
Yeah, that happens when I play for him. So I don't have to try.
Yeah.
When I listened myself back on this recording, I hadn't recorded my voice in 20 years. My first thought was, because we never talk like we think we sound. When you hear it, it's like, that ain't me.
No, I don't.
My voice sounded like Mark. Is that apparent to anybody else? Do me and Mark kind of talk alike?
No,
I
not to
don't
me.
think so.
Not to me.
Kind of a drawl, kind of a I don't know.
No, my mom. They're actually, comedians are usually pretty screwed up in the head. But
Well, Lynn Brown's always been one of the funniest guys I've known.
Oh
And
shit.
One of the most screwed up too, but Lynn could do that.
No.
Get Damien on board. He's pretty good.
Yeah, let Damien do it.
they're pretty
Let
good.
Mike eat it.
Do you have to write your own material?
No, I don't
Yeah,
think.
no thank
I
you.
don't think so. I don't think so. Actually, I hear that as a critique from comedians. They get really pissed if their material gets stolen, I mean, it's like the Ark. You know, it's a horrible sin to steal a comedian, but to me, it's like music. When you know, isn't that a compliment if someone else plays your song? You know,
Absolutely.
and it seems to me a comedian would want that too, especially if they got credit for it. It's like, but I hear that a lot. Comedians hate it when their jokes get stolen, but I guess maybe they just don't get credit for it. Maybe that's it. But it seems to me if you're a songwriter, that's the greatest compliment there is if someone wants to play your song.
Absolutely. I sent this one I just recorded to a friend of mine. He used to play here in town, do a lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash stuff in his band. And the guy that was the leader of the band has passed away, but Tom somebody. But they used to do a lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young stuff. And so I sent this thing to him. He lives in Arizona now. And he sent it back. Or I sent a message back that said, I heard the Doobie Brothers the minute I heard it. And he said, and that's a compliment because they're my favorite band of all times. And I thought to myself, well, that's probably because they're your favorite band. That's popped into your head, you know. But he said, I said, oh, well, maybe I'll send it to them, see if they can do it, you know. So I was real complimented by that. I thought, no, I never thought of the Doobie Brothers doing it, but I guess it is, you know, pop enough to be able to do that.
Well, I highly encourage anybody that's listening to go to Lynn Brown's timeline and check out the last song he posted that he recorded. I think it's the best thing I've ever heard you record.
You know, that's funny you would say that because I'm really learning how to use this machine, and I've had it for years. And one day during this is what Covis did, right? It just made me go in there and I put it in I had it out in the garage because I practice out there. And I brought it inside in the office and I set it up, and the first couple times I ever tried to use it, I couldn't even figure it out. It was like, what the hell do you do with, why did I spend $800 on this piece of shit? Right. And then an hour went by and I figured it out. It was like, wow, you know, boom, one of those moments. And now I've got this, it's called a DAW on your computer. And it's basically a recording studio that's on your computer. And so I record it on this 24 digital track. It's called a Porta Studio. It's Tascam. So I record all the different tracks on that. And then you use a USB to send that to your computer. And this is confusing to some people, but it's really a trip because it sends all the exported files from your Tascam to your computer in a little file folder. You open that up, and then once you get your DAW open, which is called Harrison Mixbus, which I got for free. We were offering it for free, and once I opened that, you go to import in the preferences and import the files, the different tracks, and it's amazingly easy. I'm shocked that I could do it, and it's been the best experience I've ever had recording, and I've done it all my life on different, reel to reel to, cassette,
well,
everything.
It's not just the recording that song. What impressed me is the structure of the song. It's a little different than anything I've ever heard you write.
Yeah.
And the descending chords and the way you did it, it's
it is different.
Really good stuff.
If I can get your permission to, Lynn, I'll put it on my show. I'll start tomorrow's show with it if you let me. I know how to.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I've got no worries about people taking it or whatever.
Would you like a little Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young trivia?
Yeah. What?
Well, I discovered I have a half brother. Okay. You'll have to follow me on this one. It's a little complicated. He has a half sister who was the girlfriend of David Crosby, who got killed in the car wreck.
Oh, the one he was totally in love with.
Yeah.
Did you see the documentary?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
you're related to her?
No, my half brother is.
Your half brother is.
So it's I don't think there's any blood, but that was recently. He found that out through the genetic testing thing.
How cool is that? Well, I've got a good one too. Steve Rooney.
Yes.
Okay. Steve Rooney's wife, Debbie, is the aunt of James Raymond, who is the son of David Crosby that was given away at birth.
Really?
And when David was having problems with his liver in the hospital and they thought he was going to die, James Raymond showed up at his bed and said, "I'm your son." And David Crosby's like, "What the fuck?" He's all stoned out from whatever they've got him on, right? And they're going to operate next day on his liver, take his liver out and give him a new one. And after he recovered, he formed a band called CPR, which is Crosby, Pivar, Raymond, right?
He's
Best
talented
album he ever
musician.
did, I thought. I still do. And the cover art is his father with an Indian shooting an arrow straight into the air. And it's a painting that his father, or a photo that his father had taken, because he was a photo guy. What do you call that? No,
Photographer?
he was a photographer for the movies. He did the camera work on the Main Street shot on what was that movie now? God, I'm gonna forget the name of it. It was in black and white. Big scene, gun fight in the middle of the street. What was that, Debbie?
I can't think of it.
Yeah, we're old. What the hell? Anyway, he had done this huge
Tombstone?
film. What was it? No, that's your
The-
favorite movie.
Oh, gunshot in
No,
the street.
it was God, what was that thing called? It was the whole world was against the sheriff, and God, it's so old. It's been a long time. Oh, High Noon,
Oh, High Noon.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that scene right in the middle where he was gonna come up against the guy, and it was the biggest scene in the movie anyway. He shot that. He filmed that. David Crosby's dad. So he was always in the industry in one form or another as a child, But his son, James Raymond, when they played the last time, one of the last shows they did, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Debbie invited me to go backstage. And I went backstage and I met James Raymond because that's who I really wanted to meet, because I'd seen David Crosby and Graham Nash and Stephen Stills and Neil Young for years. I actually met Graham Nash twice when I was managing Tower through meet and greets at the Arco and whatnot. But, he was there too. Graham Nash was there. He's funnier than hell. He's a great guy. But I talked mostly with James Raymond. David Crosby was a real ass. He was just standing over in the corner with a couple hags and talking with them, and they were just like gross. And Steve had bought the box set, the David Crosby box set, and he wanted David to sign it. So we were talking to James Raymond, and James goes, "Hey, Cros, come on over here. These people want to, they bought your box set. They want you to sign it." And so there he was, right in my face. I had never been that close to him, and I thought, yeah, he's kind of a turd. I hate to say it that way, but he's just kind of a turd.
I think a lot of those rockers are. Lynn, what do you remember? You and I met Ricky Nelson together. What do you remember about that night?
That was great. That was probably one of the coolest things. I
Isn't
just
that
remember
something?
how ballsy Lori was.
That's the only way we met him, because Lori had
Yeah.
the nerve to.
Yeah, she went under the curtain.
Yeah.
Under the curtain.
The show ends, and Lori goes up on stage, walks through the curtain.
Yeah.
And
and
we're
we
going.
went
We're
under-
looking at each other, going, "What? Do we go back there?"
Yeah. That was so cool. And then I remember that they were all sitting around in the back there, and they had a one of those silver tubs, like you'd feed horses in or something, and it had beers in it and sodas and stuff. And they offered us drinks, and they were really nice. I still have my autograph.
Do you?
And yeah, on I think it was on, I don't know, it's on either a band card or his card, because I think they may have given us their card.
I remember Lori got one on a napkin we had for years.
Yeah, the 40 Grand Club in Sacramento. That's what it was called.
Yeah, I remember I was more interested in talking to Ricky Nelson. You were more interested in playing the guitar player's guitar,
Yeah.
his acoustic
Yeah, it
guitar.
was really cool that he let me do that. I thought that
Yeah.
was
Richard Burton? Was that Richard Burton?
I don't know, but I know that what's his name was playing bass for them. The guy that later played with the Eagles.
Randy Meisner?
Randy Meisner. Yeah, Randy Meisner. What was that band called? Rick Nelson and the Stone Canyon
Stone
Band.
Canyon Band.
Yeah. But that was a totally fun time, man.
Tim, do you ever have any? Lynn, do you have any what if moments? Instead of like hanging out on E Street, you would have went over to Hollywood and hung out at the Whiskey or at Laurel Canyon. You took a drive through there and ended up because during that 70s period, that was quite the area.
Yeah. No, that was kind of a druggie then, so it was like, I wasn't concentrating on anything but playing music, and that was it. I went down to LA a couple times, the Hollywood, but it was mostly to shop for LPs, and just to hang out, be cool. But I was never cool, so it was.
So what was the story? How'd you meet my Uncle Joe? Do you remember that story?
He picked me up hitchhiking.
Really?
We were going to the Battle of the Bands. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, right
I was
downtown.
17 years old. 17. We'd known each other since I was 17.
Was it a bonding at first sight?
No, it was kind of freaky. I thought maybe he was a pervert or something, but
Well, you were right.
Well, I was trying to grab his crotch and he wouldn't let me. No, I had seen.
I should have let him. He's so cute.
I'd seen Lynn play at the Orange Show a few weeks before. I think you were with the YB Blues Band.
Yeah.
And I was playing there with Mike Smith and was it Bill Engel or Bruce? Anyway, God, I lost my screen. There it is. So I remember you playing harp and singing lead for this blues band at the Orange Show, and maybe it was the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah, it was.
But, then when I was driving down there and I saw you hitchhiking, I think you were with Red. But
was I? I don't remember.
I think there was
that.
2 of yous. But I go, oh, that's that guy. That's that guy. He's a really good singer.
Oh shit.
And I know when I picked you up, we were talking about music.
Yeah.
And, anyway, we got together and started jamming shortly after that.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I forgot about Red. I have a Christmas song with Red in it.
Yeah.
It's called
He's
Old
probably
Friend.
dead, huh?
I would imagine so. He showed up here one day in Chico at the old house off of 23rd out by the fairgrounds. And he showed up and he didn't have any teeth. His teeth were all totally gone. Probably had to have them pulled out because it was all the speed,
I didn't think Red would live to see 30.
I know. It was such a terrible thing. Oh, God. All that. That's where I met your brother, Mike.
My nephew, who?
Yeah, I thought it was your brother, Mike.
Mike?
That lived in Vegas.
Oh, Jim.
Jim. That's who it was. Jim.
You meant Jim?
That's where he showed up at Red's house.
Oh, yeah. He was probably looking for drugs.
Yeah. Well, I think he brought some.
Maybe that was it. Yeah, I have some memory of that. We were doing an all-nighter.
Yeah.
We'd do those all-nighters on the sitting on the floor. There'd be Corey on the keyboards and I'd be on the bass, and you and George on the guitar, and Bill. People would come in and out and pick up a guitar. Somebody would leave. We'd have that 12-bar blues thing going for like till
or
6.
Down by the River.
Down by the River, 12-bar blues, Cowgirl in the Sand.
Cowgirl.
We had that song going for 12 hours nonstop with different guys trading instruments. That was insane.
Oh my God. I have a photograph of Donnie Eaglehoff, me, George Ewing, and Farr on the grass out in front of that house. Just jamming
Yeah.
before someone stole my Martin.
Sessions over there.
Yeah. Long times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably dead, though, talking about Red. He's probably gone. I can't imagine him being alive anymore. There wasn't much left of him.
You got any ties to San Bernardino anymore, Lynn?
My sister lives in Rialto. Well, there's me and then my brother Mike and my sister Jan, my sister Sharon, and my brother Bob, and everybody's still alive, so something's going right. But
good.
yeah, my sister Jan still lives in Rialto. And I've still got friends down there. There's a thing that you ought to hook up with, Joe, online on Facebook. It's the Inland Empire Hall of Fame. And it's really cool because it's all these musicians that used to play. That's where I found out about Bill Engel. Somebody posted a picture of him and they said, "Oh, I used to jam with Bill. You know, I used to play in a band with him." And so you mentioned stuff like that, or that you're searching for someone you've been searching for down there. You know, like I said, God, you know, I know my friend Joe would really love to get a hold of Bill Engel because you've said it several times, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, and that's how I found that he was on Facebook, and sent you that picture.
Yeah, and we kind of connected. I wrote to him, he wrote back. I've got to write back.
That's really cool that he didn't send me shit. And I thought, well, what the fuck? You know, yeah, chump, played with you for a 3 years and you're not going to freaking send me a hello. You know, but I found people through that John Kinder when I played in Winship up in Beaumont, you know, that God, he was a great guitar player, man. And now he said he couldn't remember if he was 76 or 77. Okay. I didn't know what to say. It was like, what? You don't remember how old you are, you dumb fucker. Maybe he's not as smart as I remember him being, you know.
Where did you meet him at? How'd you meet Bill Engel?
Bill Engel. I don't know. Joe brought him into the band.
I first saw Bill Engel at that same show where I first saw you at the Battle of the Bands.
Oh.
He was playing on another band.
I didn't know that.
They had horns and he was playing guitar. And
yeah,
I don't know if I approached him about jamming or I can't remember. But
yeah, you probably did. You were pretty much the coach.
I was always putting stuff together.
Yeah, pretty much
together. I was always the one with the least amount of talent, but I knew if I just make myself important, they can't kick me out of the band. So.
Oh my God.
Were you in Bosco, Lynn? Was that one of your bands too? Bosco?
No.
That was before
I was in the YB Blues Band for quite a few years. We played for a lot of gigs. We played at the Swing. We opened for Iron Butterfly and Spirit. And you remember that band, the Merry-Go-Round?
Yeah, Emmett Rhodes.
He had a couple regional hits. You know, that guy was a great writer. He thought he was Paul McCartney or some shit.
Emmett Rhodes and the Merry-Go-Round, yeah.
Yeah, Emmett Rhodes, that's right. And yeah, we opened for him because I was so excited. I begged to open for that band because I really loved his stuff. And he's got an album out now that it's so melancholy, but he finally recorded something after all of these years, you know, which was kind of cool because he's still a great writer, you know, but he was a drummer at first. He played drums for a while and then they gave him a guitar because they had a better drummer or something. And he still lives down in LA.
What do you remember about Dick Clark introducing us?
He was drunker than a skunk.
Didn't a helicopter fly in and drop him off?
Yeah, they got him. They took him directly from a radio interview, like KFXM or something, and they landed on the rooftop, and and he got out and he had this suit on, this white suit, and all along the trim was red, right? He looked like a freaking clown. He was wearing a clown suit, dude, and he was drunkard and shit. And then when he introduced us, he called us another band's name. He didn't introduce us as Windy Day. I thought, well, you dumb bastard. You know, here you are. This is our big chance to get introduced by Dick Clark, and he's drunkard and shit, and he can't remember who we are.
Dick, get the hell out of here. Get off our stage.
Exactly. Oh, we should have smacked him. But, you know, that's what I remember.
The good old days.
They were great days, man. Hey, did you get us the gig opening for the Buffalo Springfield Revisited in Riverside?
No.
Oh.
Did we do that?
No, you know, we ended up not doing it because they didn't want us to after they decided that they were going to cancel that show. And there wasn't they didn't sell enough tickets. And the only original member in that band was the drummer. Remember? You
Yes,
remember that?
Dewey Martin. And then he,
Yeah. He was the
I saw
only
them at
original.
Swing Auditorium. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, it was sad.
I thought
Really
that's not the guys that do that music.
Yeah, I was waiting for Steven Stills. I thought, I get to meet Steven Stills finally, you know.
Was you on that band where we played? There was like thousands of people. It was Fairmount Park, and it was for a communist rally. And
No.
it was a band named Bones, and we opened for Bones.
No.
And,
I didn't know you did that. That's
I
funny.
remember Bill Engel doing his guitar behind his head. He was just going crazy that day. And then he got it stuck. And in the middle of the song, he couldn't get it back over his head. But
Oh my God.
that was probably the biggest audience I ever was in front of.
Oh my
It
God.
was just a big part of Fairmount Park. That might have been with Joe Cloutier, which would have been after you.
Right, that was. I remember that. That's who it was. Joe Cloutier. Did he sing?
What's that?
Was he the singer?
No, Mike Smith was.
Oh, Mike Smith. That's who it
Joe
was.
sang
Yeah.
a couple, but yeah, he was a harmonizer. He's a very talented guy.
Yeah, I remember his name. I don't much remember him, but
He died young.
so did George Ewing.
Well, Joe died.
He married Mary Barkdahl.
Barkdahl.
Yeah. I used to
Well,
call
that
her
lasted
Nuts.
about 6 months, and I remember at their wedding, when they were trying to light the eternal candle, flame of love, it
Yeah.
kept going out.
Well, that's perfect. That's about how all of her relationships were in the day. It lasted about 2 minutes. Oh, it was her
Yeah.
sister Diane.
We could do a whole show on the Barkdahl girls.
The Barkdahl twins. That's what I used to call her.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah,
Was there a third one?
We'd have to do that during the adult hour, not.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Me and Billy, a lot of my nephews have memories of some of the Barkdahl girls.
Yeah, I wonder why. But yeah, we opened for the Who, but that was kind of a pickup band.
What?
Yeah, we opened for the Who in Santa Barbara at the Earl Warren Showgrounds. There must have been 35,000 people in there. It was the biggest gig I ever did. I was so scared I couldn't feel the neck of my guitar. But it was all blues, so it was easy to play 3 chords, you know.
Did you
back
meet
in those days, Lynn, when you'd open for a popular band, did you ever have to sign something saying you wouldn't talk to any of those
No.
people or approach them? Or
They usually had a separate room every time we were backstage. We just hung out by the equipment, you know, waiting for our big chance to, you know.
Did you meet Pete?
Huh?
Did you get to meet
No,
Pete?
but I gave him a string. He broke a string on stage, and the roadie was going, I need a D string, right? I was right below him. He was like right up there. And So I said, I've got one, and I opened my guitar case because my guitar case was right there. And I handed the roadie a D string, and he handed it up to Pete, and he put it on while he was playing. Man, that was the coolest trick I've ever seen. He was like,
Wow.
what? How did you do that? And then it was the wrong gauge, and he took it off and slammed it back down at us, and he said, the wrong fucking gauge. And I felt bad, that I was just trying to help, but that was a great gig though. We slept in the on the beach and ate acid the night before. So that was our exciting trip. We got paid $500. And then when we were going to do this second gig in Los Angeles, the promoter asked us, Andy Gray used to do the Purple Haze in Riverside. And he said, hey, you guys sounded great. We got another opening and they're going to LA after this. Would you, a couple days, and do you want to play that? And I said, yeah, and so we were all ready. We went back home to Purdue and we were getting all ready. We practiced and we were getting a little tighter and stuff, and he calls us up and he said, hey, you've been preempted. There's this band called Steppenwolf that are going to open for them. And it was like, who's Steppenwolf?
What a dumb name.
Yeah, what a dumb name. Steppenwolf. But yeah, so we didn't get to do the second show, but it sure was fun. It was awesome. That was when they were busting stuff up on stage too and throwing it off the stage. And they had these stupid roadies that would throw the equipment back up on stage as they'd throw it off. It was just kind of lame, and they kicked off the big mains off the ends. In those days, they didn't have these huge systems, they have these speaker columns and they were huge, but they were sitting on the ends of the stage, right? And they knocked those off. Daltrey knocked those off. And the cabinets blew up. They just fell apart. And this guy's running away with these 4 big 15s, dragging behind him, and they're tackling his ass, grabbing the speakers back. It's the only important part in the cabinet.
Hey, Lynn, did you go see Janis Joplin at Swing Auditorium?
I saw that show.
With Chicago?
I don't remember that.
CTA open forum.
Oh, they were
open
so
for
good.
her.
Guys. Yeah.
Maybe she played more than once, but
yeah, maybe she did. I don't know.
Anyway, I have a little story about that. I was backstage at that, and Lee Michaels was the first band, and then MC5.
I saw him several times.
Janis Joplin, and she was backstage drinking a bottle of Southern Comfort.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh, the stories are true. Anyway, she was walking around with her arm over this girl, and the girl was kind of propping her up because Janis was getting really drunk. And I kept watching. She finally emptied that bottle of Southern Comfort.
Holy
and
shit.
then when her band was setting up, and I was back there on the side of the stage, and she was behind the curtain, and she opened the curtain, and she was peeking out. She goes, oh my God, there's too many people out there. And,
shit.
She almost fell down, and then this girl handed her a bottle of Boone's Farm.
Oh my God.
Ass wine, a full bottle of Boone's Farm under the curtain. And I watched Janis, already drunker than hell,
God,
took the whole bottle down. She drank the whole thing. And then she was like just sloppy drunk. And I was thinking this is going to be a disaster. And as soon as the curtain opened, man, that chick was on it.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah, there's a great.
She pulled that off because I saw what she put away.
Yeah.
She was right on the money. Put on a great.
Yeah, she has a great video that it's a Canadian trip that a bunch of bands took. And it's the documentary of some kind, and they're all on this train trip to Canada and back.
Grateful
and it's
Dead.
Amazing how great she was. Man, she was so good. But I do remember though when I saw her, she had a half-drunk bottle of what do you call that you said?
Southern Comfort.
Yes, Southern Comfort, right next to herself on the stage. And I remember thinking, God damn, it's true, just like you said.
Well, and then years later, when I saw that movie, The Rose with Bette Midler,
Yeah.
Remember the rose?
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be kind of a loose version of Janis Joplin about her. And in it, when there was at the end of every gig or something, she'd go, "Where's all the people going? Who are all those people?" I think that's exactly how she was talking backstage. Where'd they all come from? Why are they here? Look at all those people.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
What
I
am I
can't do
doing
this.
here?
I can't. And that's how Bette Midler was on that movie. And I thought, yeah, that's got to be about Janice because that's how she was.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I didn't know you had to get on another link, dude, to get to you.
This is kind of cool, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good idea, man.
The technology we have is
I
just.
wish Tim could be here. That's too bad. I'd like to see his face. We did a lot of recordings. I have some cassettes of me and Tim when I used to live on 14th Street before the kids were born. You know,
that guy could harmonize.
Yeah.
He could reach it. He could hit any note. He used to sing above Lori.
Yeah.
He
plagiarized your shit all the time.
The only person I ever heard sing something I wrote was Tim.
Yeah.
He came up to Chico one time and he's playing a song, and I said, "Damn, that's familiar. I swear I've heard that before." And he says, "Well, you wrote it."
That's so funny. You know, when every once in a while, the song that always sticks in my head is the River song. You know, big boats rolling on the river.
Oh, we used to do that.
Going downtown to New Orleans or something.
And I should be rolling down with a
river. Yeah.
But I got hung up down in River Green.
Yeah, that's it.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, what is the chorus? Well,
Riverside Blues.
What is that? So what's it say after that? Well, somebody, what's the girl's name?
Annie, why don't
Annie.
you call me?
Yeah. I'll be there in a week or two. I've been stuck all night.
Start that up, Joe. Get that guitar going.
Back to you.
Too many years.
That's a great song, though. I always liked that song. You played that on the 12 all the time.
Yeah. That was.
You almost always played that 12 string, though.
Yeah, that was my guitar. Barney's got it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just got this little. It's a Baby Martin.
Oh yeah.
It's real easy to just go around and doesn't weigh nothing.
Yeah, I've got one of those. Is that a Koa?
I keep one guitar by my computer and I keep one out in the living room by the TV. So whenever a commercial comes on, I'll sit and play with the commercial and try to figure out the chord. That's the extent of my playing these days.
That's my little baby.
What is that? It's not a Telecaster.
That's an Epiphone 339.
Oh, Epiphones are nice.
I can't get it in the picture though. I don't know how to do that. Oh, there it is. But I've been writing this song. It's kind of a jazz song. It's so weird, man, because I've never written a jazz song. You know, remember that part that Ewing wrote at the end of that song?
You wrote that.
Huh?
You wrote that.
I thought I did, but I couldn't.
You did. No, you used that on 2 or 3 different songs over the years.
I thought I did, but for some reason
that was a Lynn Brown riff.
I had that George wrote it.
That was a Lynn Brown riff.
Oh my God, I forgot.
It was something like.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That was it. That was the coolest part. I thought that it faded out with that and the walking bass. That was bitchin'.
Yeah. Now you're integrating it into a song for the 4th time.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's legal.
But
You
it's not
can
those
do that.
chords though. No, it's different. I don't even know what the chords. I looked it up on this little app that tells you what the chord is, and it's like an A flat minor ninth. I don't even know what I just put my hands down on the strings and it formed the chord, But it's cool. It's really different. I've never written anything like it. It's kind of like that. Let me see if I can. Let me see. Well, I can't do this. I don't know how to do it.
We must really be boring you.
I'll put it in my sock. I'm just being lame. There's nothing to lean this up against.
We'll have to get our own channel set up and we can jam.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Here, let me just get this straight. I'll show you. There we go. Yay.
They have to review the whole thing.
It's like,
yeah, just like
it's so weird.
Going into the
No, it's. If you just play one string on it and then open chords, it's a chord.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
I can barely hear that.
And then it goes. I don't know. I'm still writing it, so it's.
I always thought the Epiphones were one of the real underrated electric guitar. Like Gretsch's, they just never quite got their due.
Yeah.
Gretsch's
are great.
Everybody's either Gibson or Fender, but the Guild and the Epiphones, you play one and you go, God, where's this been all my life? They're awesome.
Yeah, I love this. I love this little guitar, and it's small, so it fits my body. Yeah,
and they got great action.
Yeah, and it's light, and it's great to hang it around your shoulders all night. Because you know how your shoulder gets after playing for 3 sets. You're like, ugh. Well, I am. But
are you still playing out? Well, I guess you're not with the.
Well, I was really
home.
this last summer was I started over again. I just decided that's what I'm going to do, and it's what I've always done, right? Just play 2 or 3 sets, and I played it. The last gig that I did was at LaSalle's. I hadn't played there since our band played there. And, evidently the bar loved it and the people that were there loved it. So he sent me an email. He said, I want you to come back and play Happy Hour, and I thought, I don't know if I really want to play Happy Hour. That's just noisier than shit. So this was like from 11 to 1 or something like that, and on a Saturday, and it was great. I was luckily on the radio on KZFR the night or the afternoon before, and I think it was a Sunday that I played at LaSalle's. But so I was on that show at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's Studio 416, and Brad Peterson hosts it. So I got to play some of the stuff that I had written, and I got to play some cover tunes, so people knew what I was going to do. And I got 4 or 5 different people that said, "Oh, I heard you on the radio. That's why I'm here." So
cool.
That works. That's a good way to do it. Yeah. Brad's always pretty congenial. He'll let me come on and push it.
Well, you've kept your voice in good shape over the years. I wished I had kept singing.
I wish you had too.
If you quit, it is like a muscle. You got to keep that sucker in shape.
Yeah. Somebody was saying, they commented on, I sent her this song that I wrote, and she commented, I really like that. It's kind of retro. And I said, yeah, well, that's all I've ever been is retro, and she said, I can't sing a lick. And I sent a little note back saying basically what you did. that I think everybody can sing. I've always been one to believe that everybody can sing. You just got to work it because it is a muscle. And if you don't use it, you lose it, you know, just like what you said. And it's hard to keep it up. You got to keep playing and you got to practice. It's not easy because I know that I'm not anywhere close to what I used to be able to do.
Well, I know that, you know how you have little defining moments in your life? And there was a little defining moment in my life with you that really affected me the rest of my life. And I'll tell you the little story.
I don't want to know this, right?
Anyway, you know, I at my very best, I just kind of sang. So I never considered myself a singer. I just faked it kind of and made do. But for years, when I started off with, you know, down in San Bernardino, all I did was play bass. I didn't sing.
Yeah.
So that all started up in Chico when it was me and Lori and Kim and me and Tim and Mark and me and Lori and Dale. Anyway, I'd start singing, but I was always shy. I was scared to sing in front of people. I held back, so I wasn't really producing. And then years later, then I got with you and Dale, and we started our little thing, and we were playing. It was the three of us, and we were playing a gig at LaSalle's. And I remember I was doing my thing where I was singing a song, and I was kind of like hoping nobody was hearing me, and I was just kind of holding back and doing my part. And then you right in the middle of the song, you come over in my ear and you go, "Sing it, Joe." And okay. And then I started just belting it out. And ever since then, I did. Ever since then, I belted out. Whenever I felt myself getting shy, I always pictured Lynn coming up and pushing me, "Sing it out, Joe." But that little moment, you know, for what it was worth, it gave me a boost I needed.
Yeah.
And I always would use that in my mind when I feel myself holding back. I'm too shy. I ain't got the power. I ain't got the talent. And no, Lynn's telling me to do it. I'm doing it. So yeah, that's a true story.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. It's all about the music, Joe Shaw. Forever.
Well, I still enjoy writing stuff. I just don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, you should just tape it and, you know, send it to me.
Yeah, I do have one song. We talked about this a few months ago. I would love to hear you do it. I think it'd be right in your range. And chords are simple enough, so we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's a song that I want to hear somebody do sometime before I die. I want to hear it.
Uncle Joe, play it right now for us and let him hear it.
No.
No?
No.
I'm not in his ear. I can't make him do it.
I'll do it for Lynn when we're by ourselves sometime. And then Lynn can come on the show and perform it.
No, this is a good opportunity. I told Joe this a long time ago. You could do something like this and you could have a variety show. You could have music. You could have comedy. You could have politics. You can have serious discussions. But you can, you know, this can go live on YouTube, and you just never know where it could end up.
That's very true. You know, I think though you have to have the plate spinners if you're going to do something like that.
Maybe.
And Coco
Maybe.
We can find those.
Yeah.
They're out there.
I know a juggler.
Okay.
Mike,
an old-fashioned variety show.
Farmers Market.
They really don't have those anymore.
What?
They really don't have that old-fashioned variety show anymore, do they?
No. It's like that was my favorite thing when I was a kid. Was I waited for the jugglers, man, and the kid, the guy that
Sullivan always had the plate spinners.
Yeah, the plate spinners. Those are my favorite. And it's like, shit, man, he's got 20 plates going at the same time. Pretty lame, but I liked it.
It's probably a lost art.
Yeah, I would imagine it's probably something that you got to really work at to do it right. Hey, what's behind you anyway? Is that like the upper park?
That is. You know where? You might be able to even know
Is
where.
that Salmon Hole?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I haven't been up there in so many years, dude.
See, I got this magic thing, the technology, Lynn.
Yeah. Well, that'd be a great way to end the show.
Okay.
Just disappear.
I think anyway's a real good way to end the show from Gordon.
That's true.
What?
Like bibbity bobbity boo. Screw you. Bye.
Oh, we kind of soaked up the whole show. It's probably
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sure
you
it's
know
had
what?
enough of us.
I loved. Actually, I thought it was a really cool show. It was honest. You know, you had two old guys talking about music. Old guys talking about music, and that's real stuff. And no, thank you, guys. Thank you for coming on, Lynn. I hope you come on again.
We
Yeah.
scratched the surface. We still got Eagle Mountain.
Oh God.
We still got all kinds of
Oh my God.
another day.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
Joe, this is the reason why I want you to get started, and we're going to get you going, so you could just do this too, and then you can have the power of God with the remove people and mute them.
Yeah, Joe'd like to
Okay.
play God.
Yeah.
No, I think
If you could call it something other than God.
yeah.
Maybe
There
we
you
should do a vaudeville skit.
Khaki would come on and sing. I know Khaki would come on and sing. Jennifer loved the show. I think so. I think actually, I thought it was a great. And here we go. Remember, does Lynn know her? Does Lynn know Sharon?
Yes.
Looking forward to
You
hearing
know,
Joe and Lynn
I'm
play
trying to
together
put my
again.
thumb up here. Can you see my thumb?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not blue, but with the blue thumb and your red hearts, it's an online love. That's all I got to say.
For Sharon?
No,
Oh, okay.
but
Did
that's
you?
all I got to say. I'm gonna go. So it's the last verse of my song. So
I love Sharon.
Sharon, Karen, isn't that what?
I love
what's
you
the
too,
thing?
Lynn.
I love you too.
Take care.
All right.
Let me know if you need help painting your house.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely will. You can expect a call, bro.
But that doesn't mean he's going to pick up a brush. I'm pretty sure of that.
Oh,
Well,
hell
that
no.
doesn't mean he has to, but I just need his brain knowledge.
I'm sure he has that.
Yep. And maybe a bottle of wine. I'm not sure.
So Kaki's going to do Dolly Parton on our variety show.
Oh, shit. Oh, cool.
And
All
anyway,
right.
yeah, let's. You know what?
Love you guys.
See you, Lynn. I'm taking off too.
Hey, thanks,
All right,
guys.
see you,
That was really cool. I appreciate it, Lynn. Tomorrow I'm going to try to find your video. And is it a video or just a song?
No, it's just an audio. It's on SoundCloud, but it's on my web page too, or my Facebook page.
Okay, I can get that.
It's either Lynn Brown or Lynn Brown Music. There's 2 pages.
Okay, cool.
It's
gonna-
really good. Just give it a listen. Everybody give it a listen. It's really good.
So we got
Thanks.
something to look forward to tune in tomorrow.
It's rock and roll, dude.
Hey, Pete.
See ya.
Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. We've gone over an hour and a half. I'll just drop that link really quick in case somebody wants to get the last word in. But no, that was kind of cool seeing a couple old farts reminisce about the good old days. Opening up for the Who. My goodness, that's a good story. Okay, well, I got to peace out. So I think we are going to peace out. And always thanks for tuning in. Jennifer, you're always here, and I'm sure you'll be one of the first ones tomorrow listening to that song. So cool. Hope you get your camera worked out, or come on with your telephone or your phone. That seemed to work yesterday. Anyways, good night. Thank you. I should be back on tomorrow. I don't have any plans to leave town, and I enjoy doing this still. And hopefully I'll have an updated background. Good night, everybody. Peace, love, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and get a good night's sleep. See ya.